Hey all, I'm just out on my balcony relaxing and I want to have a conversation with you while I'm out here. I'm going to share with you the top 10 or like debunking the top 10 diet mentality mindsets. This could also be like not just mindsets, but identities or beliefs that you have about yourself as a result of diet mentality. Maybe you've spent years dieting, or maybe you've done just a couple of restrictive diets in the past and you've found that your brain gets a little wonky because of it. So I'm going to go through the top 10. Here we go. And I wrote them down here. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my notes. So the first one is the thinking that I'm a failure. This one's really tricky because what happens is that when women are carrying more stored energy on their body than they want, then they think that they are a failure because based upon the amount of adipose tissue on their body. Their whole existence, they write off as being a failure because of the amount of stored energy on their body. And then not only that, but because they would desire to have less adipose tissue or stored energy, fat on their body, they want to try again, but they're scared to try again because they don't want further evidence to continue to believe that they're a failure. So this one's a catch-22. If you think you're a failure based upon the amount of stored energy on your body, I would say that this is hyperfixating in on one aspect of your life, and it's not even the most important aspect of even about your body. The least interesting thing about your body is the amount of stored energy that she carries. Your body shows up for you in every moment, regardless. She's breathing for you, she's beating for you, she supports life for you in every moment. And what she looks like, the amount of stored energy on your body is the least interesting thing about her. And so the first one is thinking that you're a failure based upon a health goal. Okay, it's just one aspect of a whole myriad of aspects about someone's life, and you can to write your whole self off as a failure because of one thing, that's a little bit myopic in scope and lacking perspective. But it's fostered by diet mentality, which is so abundant. Okay, the second diet mentality mindset or self-belief that occurs that's false about oneself when they've dieted is the thought of I have no willpower. Because you've tried and tried and tried again, and you think, I just can't seem to think, I can't try again. You think that you're the problem, that you're lacking willpower. And I would say that when you diet, from a brain science standpoint, what happens is that survival responses are switched off in your brain, because food is most fundamental, one of the most fundamental things for survival. So when your brain, or when you've taught your brain that you're going to be restricting calories or food in some aspect, you think it's because of a lack of willpower, and I'm saying it's because your brain is trying to keep you alive and it doesn't want you to restrict something that's so essential for life. Okay, so thinking that your lack of willpower is the reason, that's false. The other thing, so number 3 is saying, I'm just an emotional eater. Now, do people emotionally eat? Yeah, that happens. That's one of the basic things that I teach women how to do, is to solve for their emotions without needing food to solve for them. But to identify yourself as an emotional eater and to make that part of your core identity, from a brain science standpoint, when you have identified that this is who I am, it becomes very difficult for your brain to do anything else, because you've programmed your brain to identify as that thing. So it's going to want you to continue to do the thing that you've told your brain that you are. Does that make sense? So you want to be mindful. This can be shifted, but it's shifted by it recognizing first that, oh, I've been telling myself that I'm an emotional eater, and that's not just true. Human beings in general have emotions, and oftentimes one of the ways that people cope with emotions, a coping mechanism, is food. But to then identify yourself as that thing actually further perpetuates the emotional eating. Okay. All right. The fourth thing is I'll always struggle with my weight. This is an identity piece as well. When you just think I'm someone who'll just always struggle with my weight, you have then created for yourself a belief that this part of your life is meant to be a struggle. Therefore, the result will be struggle, because that's what you've told your brain that you're about. We're just going to be struggling with this thing. And I would contend that we can rewire this part of your brain to no longer believe that, and then you get to have different results. I won't get into that much more here. Okay, the next one is this belief that I'm addicted to food. I can't tell you how many women I have worked with, and I've worked with tens of thousands of women in my free content workshops, and then I've also worked with over 1,200 women inside my private community of women in the Freedom with Body and Food program. Many of them come and say, you know, I used to attend Overeaters Anonymous or something like to that aspect, and they believe that they are that they're a food addict and that they identify themselves as being a food addict. So not only is this a problem with an identity piece, but labeling yourself as a food addict, do I think that such a thing occurs or can happen? Yes, I do. However, the amount of women who actually are food addicts, as opposed to the amount of women whose brains have just been severely affected by diet mentality, are two different things. When you diet, when you have a lifetime of dieting, especially, which is really common, when you dieted and yo-yo dieted and done restrictive dieting, what happens is that your brain will hyperfixate in on food and will obsess about food, and you think that you're a food addict. And rather what's happened is that your brain has responded to the diet culture, to the diets that you've been putting it on. Your brain is hardwired for survival, and when you put so many rules and stipulations around food, a survival response is flipped, and then you will hyperfixate on food, and thus you'll think that you're addicted to food when rather you're just hardwired for survival. Okay, so the sixth common mindset or self-belief that needs to be debunked is thinking that you're broken, that your body or you are a problem to be fixed. Your body is not a problem to be fixed. Your body, regardless of any health goal you may have, is fulfilling the measure of her creation, which is to give you life and allow you to be here on this earth, traveling throughout time, right? And so thinking that my body is broken or that my body is a problem to be fixed is just not true. It's just not true. And also it causes lots of feelings of desperation and shame and guilt. And when you're wallowing and ruminating in feelings such as guilt and shame and desperation, you are not creating the quality of emotions in your life to create the lasting change that would create the results that you're seeking. Most women want to have peace with their bodies, peace with food, and then also feel like they're genuinely in control so that they can consistently work towards their health goals in a permanent way, in a sustainable way, in a way that comes from just a natural way of being. They want to learn how to stop dieting and just become a normal eater who maintains a happy place with their weight without all of the rules and restrictions. Well, how do you do that? You have to strip away these beliefs that are perpetuating the problem. And thinking that you're broken is one of them. Thinking that your body's a problem to be fixed or that your body's broken. Not helpful. Believing that I'm the fat one. Excuse me. When you think I'm just the one that will be chubby all my life. Again, this is the identity piece. When you internalize your body size and also think of it in terms of that's who I am, well, then that's what you will create. There's nothing wrong with any body size. Now different body sizes, you may want to have more mobility. The question isn't what does my body look like? What size is my body? The question is my body able to do what I want it to be able to do so I have the experience that I want to have in my life? Let's move it away from looks and let's move it towards what can my body do? Okay, the eighth belief that we're going to debunk that happens from diet mentality is thinking that I'm good when the scale goes down and I'm bad when the scale goes up. The scale is only telling you one piece of the picture. It's just your gravitational pull upon the earth. And any normal eater who maintains a happy weight has fluctuations throughout the days. They just do. That is normal. Okay? All right. The ninth debunking that we're going to do is the belief that I'm just someone who has to watch everything I eat. This leads to kind of hypervigilance and overthinking food choices, which leads to tripping survival responses in your brain that actually causes us to stress eat, overeat, binge eat. So when you have hypervigilance in regards to food, it's going to lead to some form of overeating or out of control food behavior sooner or later. And then the 10th belief that we want to debunk that's caused from diet mentality is the idea that I exercise so I can eat. I hate it when someone says, well, I go to the gym so I can eat because I just love to eat. And they say it so half-heart, so nonchalant, and they say it from a place of humor, but this is actually damaging. We eat because it fuels our body. We move because our bodies are designed for movement, and that's what's best for our bodies. We do not earn food with movement. Movement is not a punishment for food that we have or are going to eat. Movement is something that's pleasurable to do. And if you don't think it's pleasurable, then you're not doing the right kind of movement for you. Find the type of movement that feels good for you. And we don't exercise to eat. We exercise to feel well, and we eat to feel well. Okay? These two things are separate, and one is not dependent upon the other, except maybe if you are moving more, your body may send you more hunger cues, therefore you may need to eat more. And if you're more sedentary, you will have less hunger cues and eat less. But as far as one giving permission to do the other, not helpful. So those are the 10 top beliefs that we need to debunk as it regards to diet mentality. Do you notice any of these happening for you? Do you notice any of these happening to the people around you? I'd love to hear in the comments. Let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And go ahead and check out my website, carrienygaard.com. There's free content there. There's free classes there to check out. All right. Bye-bye.